Welcome to FOXSOUL's Black Report. This is a space where we bring you Black America's headline news, views, and opinions. I'm Romeo.
Hey there, I'm Brooke.
I'm Demi, and on today's report, survivors of the Tulsa race massacre are financially gifted. President Joe Biden recognizes the 40th anniversary of the AIDS epidemic, and protests erupt again over a black man killed by Minnesota deputies.
Also, Facebook has put a time limit on former President Trump's ban. We'll tell you how long he's going to be locked out. Plus, which social media site did Nigeria just ban? Find out. The Obamas want to help teach your kids, and Cuba Gooding Jr. just lost big time in court.
We have all of that and so much more. So if you're ready, it's our voice and our truth. So let's talk about it.
The three remaining witnesses of the 1921 Tulsa race massacre are all being gifted with some big money. The Washington Post is reporting the Justice for Greenwood Foundation is giving them $100,000 each. This foundation, by the way, is a Tulsa-based nonprofit. All right, according to the foundation, donations from foundation supporters, Color of Change members, and people who just gave to fundraisers all made this possible. The foundation says this gift to Viola Fletcher, Leslie Benningfield Randall, and Hughes Van Ellis is, quote, an important step in the long overdue path towards justice and an act of resistance to the city's continued efforts to erase Greenwood's black community and history. By the way, this foundation has also been fighting for reparations for these three remaining survivors. As the Tulsa World reports, all three are plaintiffs in a lawsuit against the city of Tulsa, and other defendants also, as well as them, they're all seeking reparations for the destruction and lost wealth of its residents and their descendants as a result of the massacre. So I think it's pretty powerful to see an organization come together to say, you know, let's do what we can.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like you said, they all feel that they should get the reparations, and I feel like they should get some land. I know I love the $100,000, but why not give them some property to pass along to their family members?
Exactly.
You know, because you got to think about the history and what's been going on, and now it's finally been recognized after over 100 years. Love what they're doing, but I can only pray they do a lot more.
Yeah, well, you know, they're still suffering from the effects of what happened in 1921. And Romeo, you literally took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say they haven't had the opportunity to pass down that generational wealth to their descendants. That's kind of similar to what Ben Crump has been talking about on his Twitter. He's been very vocal about it. So like you said, you guys have both said the same thing. And I want to echo that, you know, the money is great, but generational wealth is what we talk about in the black community. And this will be a great opportunity for them to pass it down to their family and family members to come.
100%, yeah. All right, well, President Biden on Saturday released a statement recognizing the 40th anniversary of the HIV/AIDS epidemic and announcing that he has asked Congress to provide $670 million to fight new infections. Dr. Anthony Fauci, who has played a key role in tackling AIDS, told Axios that he believes it's possible by the end of the epidemic to end the epidemic by 2030 with a combination of different treatments. There are approximately 1.2 million people in the United States living with HIV, and about 13% of them remain undiagnosed. There were around 348,000 new HIV infections in 2019 per HIV.gov. In his statement, Biden mentioned the president's emergency plan for AIDS relief, noting that the United States had invested over $85 billion since 2002 in HIV programs around the world, including $250 million from the American Rescue Plan to research the effects of the coronavirus on HIV. June 5th, 1981 was the first time we heard about 5 men in Los Angeles that had this disease, and a couple of them passed away that time. And you think about it, where we started when people first learned about HIV and AIDS and how we thought we would never see the daylight of this situation. A lot of people lost. We lost, 32 million people globally to this disease.
You know, we've cleared the wait list, of people where for years, even after HIV medications was widely available, there was still a waiting list of people, lots of marginalized communities, people in rural areas not able to get this medication. And so at the same time, we have cleared that, but the same healthcare disparities they're still there. And so people are dropping out of treatment. People aren't getting treatment. People don't know that they need treatment. A lot of these same issues, they affect every single aspect of any sort of healthcare. According to KQED, again, there's an extreme, disparity when it comes to treating HIV and AIDS, and nearly half of the approximately 45,000 Americans infected with HIV each year are African American.
And, and on top of that, you think about it, some people would say over the years that they feel like celebrities, certain people at a different status were getting different or better type of medication during that time where everyone couldn't get the exact same thing. Those are just alleged they were saying that, but some people felt that way as well.
Yeah. It was really interesting for me, you guys. Romeo, like you said, millions of people have died from HIV and AIDS, this deadly disease, but also people, like you said, millions of people still live with it today and, still undiagnosed, like you said in your story. But what I thought was very interesting is Dr. Anthony Fauci, he actually became the director of the National Institute for Allergy and Infectious Diseases at the height of the AIDS epidemic, which was interesting. And he also calls it the dark years, because when this all came about, they consider HIV and AIDS pretty much a death sentence. There was no cure for it, and they're just pretty much kind of felt helpless. Dr. Anthony Fauci, he said, I went from a person who was seeing patients with other diseases and kind of like coming up with cures and helping them and getting, therapies for people in my earlier career, to every single day people were just going to die. Lots of AIDS experts do feel like we might be getting close to finding a cure for HIV and AIDS, and I would love to hear that, because like you said, Brooke, it affects a lot of people in our community.
Yeah, and for years, HIV was considered a not insurable pre-existing condition, and now, of course, it is against the law for you to deny someone health insurance on that fact. But just thinking about that and the fact that there are treatments out there. First of all, there are treatments, there are like PrEP, right, that people can be on in an effort to prevent ever contracting the virus, right? But then also there are treatments out there where it is not considered a death sentence at all anymore. People live long lives, long healthy lives. People who are on their medication and considered undetectable, they are all eventually going to die of something that is not HIV. Do you know what I mean? This is not going to kill them. They are going to live normal, healthy lives as they should. And so keeping that in mind and thinking about the disparity, it's heartbreaking to think that there would be someone without the same access or education to treatment that wouldn't do you know what I'm saying, or would fall out of treatment for a number of different reasons. That's just always just gonna bother me, the fact that there are life-saving treatments, and you just want everybody to have that same access.
And real quick, I just want to say the fact that you mentioned the word education, once we all got educated on it, we could talk about it. You see it in commercials, right? Because before, you wouldn't even want to discuss it. If you brought someone, a family or a friend member had it, you would almost scared to talk about it. But now that we're more educated and we know there's ways to possibly get a 100% cure, we can definitely speak on it and feel good about that.
That's what we want. That's what we want.
Absolutely.
We want, cures.
Yes.
In the meantime, we want everybody to be able to access the exact same treatment and easily.
Yeah. All right, guys. So American pharmaceutical company Merck is investigating after news was found at its plant in Durham, North Carolina, the News and Observer reports. The newspaper reports that a contractor who found a rope fashioned as a noose at a construction project at Merck's 262-acre facility. The Durham site is actually one of the two that were given the task earlier this year to manufacture the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine. A Merck spokesman, Patrick Ryan, said in a statement, "We have a zero tolerance for hate, racism, or discrimination in our workplace or society." You guys will recall literally just weeks ago, we were talking about something very similar happening at Amazon, where 8 nooses were found back to back at their construction site. And so, I'm happy that Merck is on top of this right away, because Amazon I'm still side-eyeing you for having to see 8 to finally shut down that construction site. But at the end of the day, I can't imagine that there's no camera that can find the people that are doing this. This is very shameful. This is very racist. And these people, once you find them, hopefully they need to be punished at some capacity, because this is completely unnecessary and, just like I said, racist.
Yeah, what in the Merck is going on, if you think about it? Because You hit it right on the head when you said that. We're talking about someone has to know what's going on. There has to be cameras. You talk about a property, a place that needs surveillance, and you don't have any information. And there's reports in North Carolina that they know of. There's been over 102 lynchings there, and since 1882, and between 1882 and 1968, there have been over 4,700 lynchings that we know of. And remember, we talked about some people that were found hanging from a tree. I hate to say that, but that's what they were found in Palmdale and in Victorville within the last year. And now they're saying that was something they did to themselves. People still don't believe that. Like, something like this is more likely still going on, and that's sad to say. But to see a noose in 2021 hanging somewhere is just, look, racism is real. We got to know that.
So funny. It's there to scare you. It's there to be a threat. It's there to shake you, and it works.
Yeah, it does. All right, well, county officials in North Carolina have approved a ban on Coca-Cola machines from its government buildings in protest of the Georgia-based company's recent opposition to the state's new voting law. Surry County Commissioner Eddie Harris, who sent a copy of the letter to CBS News, wrote, "Due to your company's support of the out-of-control, cancel culture, and bigoted leftist mob, the Surry Board of County Commissioners voted at their May 17, 2021 meeting to remove all Coca-Cola machines from the Surry County government facilities. The Georgia law has been criticized for putting new restrictions on voting, which will disproportionately impact voters of color, according to Democrats and voting rights advocates." So this is something that I'm happy to see. And I think more companies have to react this way, because we know what they're doing is totally wrong. We know the laws they're trying to build up to take our vote away, because our vote is so powerful. We found that out in the 2020 election. We said it over and over again. But I think it's important that people recognize and hit them in their pockets and say, hey, if you're going to agree with this, or if this is the side that you're on, then we just don't want to do business with you.
Absolutely.
It's a whole other state. They're speaking out. I'm just fascinated by why. I think, we all know the reasons, but, you have a big corporation that was almost, pushed. Like, you have to say something. You are in the heart of this state. You have to say something. They say something, and then another state, says, we're going to not let people spend 50 cents on your on your soda cans. I guess, okay.
Well, I mean, it's something, but you think about Major League Baseball moving the All-Star game. That's going to cost that city $100 million. They took it to Colorado. So it's things like that needs to happen. But I do understand what you're saying.
It's just, you have to just question and wonder, like, why this is so important to the people in this state. All right, well.
All right, guys. So Texas GOP Chair Alan West recently announced his resignation, opening up the possibility of a run for statewide office. In a news release from the Texas Republican Party, West said it was his distinct honor to serve in the position, which he did for just under a year. West's resignation will be effective on July 11th. As GOP Party Chair, West protested outside the governor's mansion over COVID-19 shutdowns, reports the Texas Tribune. He also sued Texas Governor Greg Abbott for extending early voting due to the pandemic. This was a good one, very juicy story here, because there were some conspiracy theories roaming around on social media. So something in his exit statement kind of stuck out to me, and it was a little, I don't know how I feel about it. So it says Lieutenant, Alan West will take his opportunity to prayerfully reflect on a new chapter in his already distinguished career. So a lot of people started wondering, why does he need to prayerfully, reflect on a new chapter? So some people were wondering, is there some news that's going to drop? Because, like, again, him only serving, I believe it was 7 months, it does raise some eyebrows. So, it also makes me think, too, like, okay, he's leaving abruptly, and he needs to prayerfully reflect on this new chapter. So there might be some news. I don't know. I feel it. So if it happens, I said it first. So also, some people are also, Brooke said something last week that really stuck out to me about people seeking political fame and just using opportunities to, get to the next level. So that's another thing that people are talking about, that he only took this just to make his build a platform, for his political career. Someone tweeted, "It's now clear that Alan West's entire tenure as Texas GOP chair was intended to do only what many suspected, provide him a platform for his political future, not an opportunity to build the party." So I'll definitely be interested to see what his next steps are, and if any other news drops around circulating around him this week.
Yeah, we are absolutely going to be following that for sure. Also, we are following protests in Minnesota after members of a U.S. Marshals task force shot and killed a black man. The Washington Post reports family members identified the man as 32-year-old Winston Boogie Smith Jr. Authorities say Smith was wanted on a weapons violation and fired a gun before 2 deputies shot him while he was inside a parked car. Family and friends describe Smith as a father of 3 who was often harassed by police. And right now they're, demanding transparency in the investigation and have asked that anyone who might have video footage come forward. Police said 27 people were arrested in the protest, 26 accused of rioting, and 1 facing a weapons charge. There were no injuries reported. Let's talk about this. The U.S. Marshal Service does not allow the use of body cameras. So that's what we've learned here. No body cameras, so we're not going to be able to see anything from their vantage point. And you also have to understand, even specifically in Minnesota, why there's so much skepticism, because you all remember that the initial police report after George Floyd died was that he died after a, quote, medical incident during police interaction. Yeah. And what we all saw, because of a teenager being willing to sit there and record this whole thing, what we saw was that he died because an officer knelt on his neck while he screamed, "I can't breathe," for 9 minutes, more than 8 minutes, So people are skeptical, and they have a right to be, because it's specifically in that state, one of the biggest things, we've ever seen across the world. Yeah. But, came from the official report wasn't truthful. Yeah. And it wasn't factual.
And this sounds like a young man, he said he was harassed. His family said that, right? So, we all get frustrated. We see what's going on in the world. We feel like changes are not happening fast enough. Now, on Facebook, they had a record of him allegedly saying some crazy things, some dangerous things, so maybe they're on high alert with him. But we need to see proof. If they're saying that he shot first, we need to see that. And if that was the case, does it give you a reason to shoot back and did what you did? So I think there's a lot of questions that may not get unanswered, unfortunately, in this particular situation.
Yeah, for sure, guys. He was so young. This really just makes me wonder what is going on in Minneapolis, because we thought about when George Floyd died and Derek Chauvin, after he's, going to be going to jail, it felt like, okay, some things are going to go back to normal, but it honestly just feels like more violence is erupting in Minneapolis. And like you guys were saying about transparency, I don't know if we're going to get the answer that we're looking for, even with, with Daunte Wright's case. Hopefully we see some resolve, or we hate to use the word justice here, but a light at the end of the tunnel. But it just really just makes you, again, afraid to be pulled over by police, fearful of the police. Nothing makes you feel safe, especially being in Minneapolis. And it's just really scary. So, of course, we'll be following this story and keeping you guys updated as well.